and welcome to Narayana IAS Academy. In this session of the top topics of the week, we'll delve into 5 most important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. So let's explore each topic in depth so that you're well informed and prepared for the examination. So let's kick off with the first topic.
If we talk about the fourth article of the day, a crisis in Wana that no one talks about. Wana, West Asia and North Africa. So when we talk about West Asia, we think about Gaza, we think about Israel. But something is happening in Sudan as well. Nobody talks about that. And this article is talking about that particular thing which nobody is talking about. So when we talk about Wana, Wana is a region which does not have a fixed point that these are the countries which are in West Asia and North Africa. Sudan is more often than not included in Wana. Sometimes it is also not included in Wana. So don't be like rigid about this, but yes, Sudan is in that region and nobody's talking about Sudan. Everybody's talking about Gaza and Israel as well as Palestine. Questions related to this region, this West Asia region, especially West Asia region, more than North Africa, is a hot favorite of UPSC. Questions have been asked. Areas which are bordering Mediterranean Sea, especially in the West Asian region. So what is the context? The topic highlights the severe humanitarian crisis in Sudan. So Yemen earlier has been asked, South Sudan has been asked. So we should be ready about these. Again, places in news. Namibia we have talked about today. Why? Why this particular humanitarian crisis is happening in Sudan? Because there is a fight between two forces. One is a Sudan Armed Forces, which is the official armed forces of Sudan, and then Rapid Support Forces, which is a paramilitary force. So earlier it was supported by the government. Now, later on, they became a rebellion or rebellious kind of a group. And now it is not considered a part of the Sudanese forces. And again, there are different countries. Some countries like UK, etc., they're supporting RSF. Some other countries are supporting Sudan Armed Forces. So it has become a political battle. It has become a battle of alliances as well. So the crisis has resulted in a massive loss of life, widespread displacement, and impending famine and disease. Already Namibia is suffering from drought. Africa is always in one turmoil or the other, African countries. Despite its severity, the crisis in Sudan is underreported compared to other conflicts in Wana, West Asia, North Africa region such as Gaza. So this is Sudan. Pay attention. Sometimes they will ask you, which of the following countries border Red Sea? In that scenario, you have to pay attention here. Sudan does border Red Sea, right? So now Sudan. Sudan is the third largest country in Africa. Again, a question for you. If you know it, which is the largest country in Africa and which is the second largest country in Africa? If you know it, post it in the comment section. History marked by civil wars, military coups, land borders with 7 countries, coastline along the Red Sea. Even if you forget the 7 countries, although you should be keeping a tab on the 7 countries because this is places in news and this country is in news actually. But Red Sea is very important. It does border Red Sea. Gained independence in 1956, but autocratic regime, despotic regime was there. Ethnically diverse with a significant Arab and non-Arab population. Okay. Economically, they are agrarian, just like India is agrarian. 50%, around 50% population is engaged in agriculture. They are also agrarian, but they are much poorer than us. Okay. The crisis began with a power struggle between SAF and like, you can forget the names of these generals. Just remember one forces, which is like the armed forces of Sudan, the other forces, which is a paramilitary force, which is now not recognized as the armed forces of Sudan. Escalated into full-scale war in April 2023, causing widespread violence, the capital. And why has this happened? These two forces are fighting because different countries of the world, they are supporting one group or the other. And you can understand what is happening. Like earlier also we have read how UK used to invest a lot in Egypt or... So there are different political alliances, neo-colonialism. Like even though they are not controlling the country directly, they are controlling via finances, via economy. So these kind of political tussles, international power tussle is going on in vulnerable countries like Sudan. So capital Khartoum and much of Sudan have been devastated with no resolution in sight. So now Wana, West Asia, North Africa, geopolitically significant. Now see this. So this is a Wana region, but sometimes Sudan in some, maps or some descriptions, it is included in the Wana region. But sometimes it is also not included in the Wana region, but more often than not, it is a part of Wana. So West Asia, North Africa region, geopolitically, there is no fixed definition of Wana. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So due to its energy resources, strategic location and history of conflicts, and that you can also understand it. Where will you say the west part ends and the north part begins? All these are very like somewhat relative, right? So that's why there is little bit of discrepancy when we talk about what are Wana countries. Different interpretation. So region has diverse ethnic and religious groups with frequent conflicts, revolutions and wars. These people, these colonial powers, when they divided Africa, they divided it in such a way that one part of one tribe is in one country, other portion is in another country. So all these things have led to creation of different factions, fightings, wars, and that is going on. Sudan, though on the periphery, is connected to Wana's broader geopolitical dynamics involving various regional and global powers. So West Asia, North Africa. Foreign players' involvement. We are talking about why this has escalated into such a big issue, because groups are forming. RSF, backed by Russia and UAE, and SAF, they are backed by Egypt and Iran. So different groups are there who are supporting different factions. And that's why this whole thing is escalating and is escalating very fast. And we need to keep a closer tab on it, just like we are keeping a closer tab on Gaza. Foreign involvement complicates conflict resolution and exacerbates the humanitarian crisis. Indian stakes. We have like a bilateral trade exceeding $2 billion. So we have a lot invested in Sudan. And major Indian investment is there in Sudan's oil sector. Extended lines of credit are there. So, and strong people-to-people ties are there. Sudanese students come to India, especially Delhi. You will see them there. Medical tourists. So all these things are there. People-to-people, soft power, hard power, everything is involved. And India also needs to keep a close tab on whatever is happening in Sudan. Ongoing conflict threatens investment, trade relation, and raises concern about the resurgence of Islamic military impacting India's security. Just like different political arena, different channels, they are covering Gaza, same way, even if not that much interest, some amount of interest should also be shown in what is happening in Sudan, if you want this particular situation to not escalate further. So what is the way forward? India should support international and regional efforts to broker a ceasefire in Sudan and encourage dialogue between the conflicting parties. Increasing humanitarian assistance is crucial to address the urgent needs, and maintaining diplomatic ties will help safeguard. We need to keep a closer tab on what is happening in Sudan, because our financial, our economic, and our people-to-people ties will be impacted to a greater degree.
Friends, the title of the next topic is Center Constitutes 23rd Law Commission. So in this article, we'll understand about the Law Commission of India, right? And the provisions under law commissions. This is important from the GS2 point of view, that is statutory, regulatory and various quasi-judicial bodies. So the previous question, the government of India has established Niti Aayog to replace which of these following institutions? What is the context? The central government has recently notified the constitution of 23rd Law Commission. The tenure of this 23rd Law Commission will be for a period of 3 years. The 22nd Law Commission, the tenure of 22nd Law Commission ended on August 31st. Now, composition and appointment, very important for your prelims. So please focus on this part. The commission will have full-time chairperson and 4 full-time members. So chairperson and 4 full-time members, right? 1 point. Second, there are provisions to appoint serving judges from the Supreme Court and High Court as the chairperson and members, which means the chairperson and members can also be serving Supreme Court and High Court judges. The commission will also include ex officio members. Who are ex officio members? Now, the person who is the secretary of the Department of Legal Affairs, he automatically becomes member of the Law Commission. Then the secretary of the Legislative Department, he also automatically becomes the member of the Law Commission. This is what we understand by the term Law Commission or ex officio. Now, the serving judges appointed as chairperson or members will function on a full-time basis, right? Serving Supreme Court and High Court judges until they retire from the judiciary. They get retired from the judiciary or the term of the Law Commission comes to an end. Very important point for your prelims. Now, remuneration. So, if the chairperson members belong to other than the members of Supreme Court and High Court judges, then they receive fixed salary of 2.50 lakh and members would receive 2.25 lakh per month. This is not that very important. Now, understanding law commission, it is only an advisory body, which means the advices recommendation of law commission is not binding on the government. The law commission would only advise. It is up to the government to accept it or reject it. It only advises. Very, very important point for your prelims. It is not binding on the government. It is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body, which means this is a executive body. The central government decides when to constitute law commission. It is completely up to the central government. Neither a constitutional body nor a statute. Very important point for your prelims. And it is constituted for a specific term and mainly serves under the Ministry of Law and Justice, right? Now, what is the history of law commission? Before the 19th century, law commissions were ad hoc, which means they were not constituted at regular interval. But from 1830s, the law commissions recommended legislative reforms. For example, the first such commission after 1830s was 1834 under Lord Macaulay. Now, this law commission led to significant codification like the Indian Penal Code or the BNS that has replaced the Indian Penal Code. The first law commission of independent India was established in 1955 under MC Setalvad. So, again a very important point for your prelims. Since then, several commissions have been formed, each for a 3-year term. Very, very important point for your again prelims. The 22nd law commission was set up in 2020. Now, we have the 23rd law commission. So, very important to remain these key points. Now, what are the functions of law commission? 1. See, there is a DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, Article 39A. This Article 39A of DPSP provides for equal access to justice for all citizens, which means citizens should have the access to justice. Which are the functions? First, reviewing of existing laws, which means whether the existing laws are making an impact on the society. Second, research on justice delivery, right? The first topic that we discussed was on the judicial reforms. Now, the law commission would decide which are the ways through which judicial system can be reformed, right? So, research on justice delivery, that is justice delivery should be efficient, transparent, accountable and should be swift. Review of obsolete laws, which means outdated laws like the sedition. Examination of socio-economic legislation. Now, this law commission will see if the socio-economic legislation is making any impact on the society. Then, promotion of gender equality and social justice, self-explanatory. So, these are some of the functions of the law commission. I hope you understood the topic, right?
The next article is about the UNESCO World Heritage status of Jaipur city. We need to know what is UNESCO World Heritage status, what are its types specifically. Now, from the syllabus perspective, art and culture, this topic becomes important. Jaipur city from the art and culture becomes very important. Now, look at this previous year question. It says, too little cash, too much politics, leaves UNESCO fighting for life. Discuss the statement in the light of US withdrawal and its accusation of the cultural body as being anti-Israel bias. Now, this question specifically focuses on UNESCO as a body and the politics surrounding this UNESCO. So, we need to have a good idea about what are the current events related to UNESCO also. Now, moving forward, what is the context? It has been announced that rupees 100 crore will be provided as a package for strengthening the status of Jaipur city as UNESCO World Heritage Site. Jaipur as a city has got this status in the year 2019. But what is World Heritage Site? Look, if you look at United Nations as a body, this United Nations has multiple organs and multiple agencies. One of those agencies is UNESCO. The long form is United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Now, this organization comes up with a list, and this includes the heritage sites, means those sites which are considered as very important for the entire world community, and we want to conserve these sites. So, entire world community will have to make some efforts to conserve these particular sites. Now, when you look at these sites, there are total 3 types of sites. One site is called as cultural site. Cultural site may include historical and cultural heritage sites. For example, Taj Mahal in India. That's a cultural site, very culturally very much important. Then there is Great Wall of China. Then there are pyramids of Egypt. All these are included in the cultural list of UNESCO World Heritage Site. Then there is second type called as natural site. So this could include some natural beauty, unique ecosystems or biodiversity systems which are existent on this planet. For example, there is a Yellowstone National Park in United States, then Galapagos Islands in the Ecuador, Great Barrier Reef in Australia. All these are natural sites and we are saying we need to conserve all these sites. Apart from these two, there is a third type. This type is called as mixed sites. So mixed would be the mixture of cultural as well as natural site. So if there is a site which is important from cultural perspective as well as it is completely a natural site, then it will be termed as a mixed site. For example, this Machu Picchu in Peru, or you can talk about Kanchenjunga National Park in India. These are examples of mixed sites. Now look at India. How many sites are there total in India? So total 43 sites are there in India as per September 2024 data. And if you look at it, this data is very important. Out of total 43, 35 are cultural sites, 7 are natural sites, and there is only one site which can be considered as mixed site. This data is very important for examination. Now moving ahead, we are talking about Jaipur city specifically. We said that the entire city has got the status of World Heritage Site. And this city was built or founded by Maharaja Savai Jai Singh II in the year 1727. But we call this city as Pink City. The reason being, when Prince of Wales was going to visit Jaipur city in the year 1876, the people of Jaipur decided that they will color the entire city with the color pink. Because if you look at the Rajput culture, they consider pink color as color of hospitality. So that's why the name Pink City came into picture.
If we talk about the first article of the day, state changes in rape law. West Bengal is in news. It has been in news from last 20, 30, if not more days. And they have passed a bill, Aprajita 2024 bill. And similar kind of bills have been passed by different states previously, like Disha bill, Shakti bill. There are certain issues related to it. There are certain issues related to Criminal Act. Where does Criminal Act and associated features lie? Does it lie in state list, union list, concurrent list? We have to understand all these issues. Now, this particular bill of West Bengal will go to President for his assent. And if President gives assent to that particular bill, then only it can become an act. So there are complications involved and we have to understand those complications. Now, see, questions related to sexual violence against women has been asked by UPSC. Although a little while back, but we have to be ready for such kind of questions because sexual violence against women has been on the increase. We are seeing more and more cases in different parts of the country. So what is the context here? West Bengal Assembly passed the Aprajita Women and the Child Bill 2024, West Bengal Criminal Law Amendment Bill, and stringent provisions are there. Now, the point here is why this particular bill needs President assent. Generally, what happens when there is a state bill, it has to be passed by governor and then it becomes an act. Why do we need President assent or assent rather? The point here is it is amending different provisions of POCSO, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, then BNS, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which are central laws. So when you have state law and central law on a concurrent subject, and if state law is contravening or is going against rather the central law, in that scenario, that state law has to get assent of the president. If you remember, in my previous DNA videos, when we have covered Himachal Pradesh marriage bill, which raised the marriageable age of women from 18 to 21, there also the same issue was there. Even in Uniform Civil Code bill related to a particular state, same issue was there. If there are two, like state law and central law is there on a concurrent subject and state law is contradicting central law, in that scenario, that state law has to get President assent, and that is what is happening in this particular Aprajita bill as well. Right. So the bill mandates death penalty for rape cases where the victim dies or is left in a vegetative state. Again, we are studying from UPSC perspective. We should be understanding the meaning of the word vegetative. Vegetative means you are alive, but your brain is not functioning. Many people feel like it's almost equivalent to death when your brain is not functioning. So almost on the verge of death, many people say the vegetative state. So more about the bill. The bill makes death the maximum punishment in all rape cases. There is another issue also, because this particular news has been in Indian Express, has been in Hindu, and if we increase the sentence, let's say from life imprisonment to death, will that reduce rape cases? The answer is no. We have done that, different states has done that, but the result has not been very encouraging. So death, even if you impose death penalty, stringent punishment, strict implementation of the law is the need of the hour. And all these things have to be done rather than just, like many people believe that this is just a knee-jerk reaction. Something has happened, so something has to be done. But we should be aiming or looking at proper implementation of the existing laws. So again, bill amends. Why it has to go to president? You are understanding it now, because it amends Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nyaya Suraksha Sanhita. All these are central laws, and the Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences Act. What we have discussed earlier, if there are two laws, state law and central law on a concurrent subject, then, and if state law is contradicting central law, it has to go to president for his assent. Then only it can become an act. Otherwise, it will be null and void. So whether Aparajita bill will actually become an act or not, we don't know. And you can understand what will be the fate of Aparajita bill from what happened with similar such bills passed by other states. So stay tuned. Special Aparajita task forces in each district will investigate rape cases. These are the provisions of the bill. Special courts will handle rape cases on expedited timelines with investigation limited to 21 days. In that, investigation has to complete and trial will be done within 30 days. The bill must be approved by West Bengal governor and then the President of India to become law. Now we are entering into the technicality. Now you also understand why President assent is rather crucial, because this criminal law and criminal procedure are under concurrent list. And both central and state have passed laws on this. And here, these three bills, Aparajita, Disha and Shakti. What are Disha and Shakti bill? We'll read about it in just few moments from now. Aparajita is a bill passed by West Bengal government. They can give you this. Aparajita, Disha, Shakti, they can give you the states and they can tell you to match the following. They amend criminal laws in a way that makes them inconsistent to the original law. So even if you don't know how to pronounce repugnant, you just understand that this is contradicting the original law. How? We'll see this. So state amendments, because there are certain amendments. What are those amendments? We'll see it in the next slide. So state amendments to central laws dealing with subjects in concurrent list that are repugnant or inconsistent to the original law require president assent under Article 254 Clause 2. This we have discussed in the Himachal Pradesh marriage bill as well. Without assent, the law will be null and void. So what were the amendments? You don't need to remember all these amendments. You just have to understand Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita section 64 has been amended. Death penalty has been added. Section 66 of BNS again makes death penalty mandatory in cases where rape causes death or vegetative state. Vegetative state, you are alive, but your brain is not functioning. 70 introduces death penalty for gang rape of women over 18. Now, what are the good things about these provisions? So, if strict implementation happens, maybe the crime will reduce, but there's a very high probability. We have talked about sexual abuse cases related with women. How sometimes, in many cases, family members or close relatives are involved. So there is a very high probability, according to social experts, that some cases will not be diverged because the provisions are so stringent and so strict that maybe women will not come because the family members are involved and death punishment is too extreme scenario. It can be a too extreme of a scenario. Hope you're understanding what we're discussing here. So, acid attacks, the bill removes lighter sentences. Now, in West Bengal, if this Aparajita bill is implemented, if a woman is a victim of acid attack, life imprisonment will be the only punishment, no lighter punishment. POCSO Act, Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, it adds death penalty for penetrative sexual assault. So you can see the provisions have become very stringent, but they are amending central laws, and that's why it needs president assent, because both state and central law has been made on a concurrent subject and state law is violating or contradicting central laws or amending central laws. So similar bill in other states. Andhra Pradesh, Disha bill, 2019-2020, this bill was passed, introduced death penalty for rape and shorter timeline for trials. Again pending, it's still pending before president. Maharashtra Shakti bill, introduced death penalty for rape and acid attacks, obligations, again similar kind of things you're seeing, again pending presidential approval. So what are you gauging from this? You must have got an idea that what will happen with Aparajita bill. Will it reach the same fate as Disha or Shakti bill? Is it just a knee-jerk reaction? You have to understand. Hope you're understanding this. Hope this Aparajita bill does not get the same dictum or same faith as like Disha or Shakti bill. Hope it gets precedent assent. So what is the conclusion here? The Aparajita bill, like similar laws in other states, aim to impose harsher penalties, including mandatory death sentences for rape and related crimes, while expediting investigations and trials. However, it is pending presidential assent, as are similar laws in Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra. The moot question, the most important question rather here is, will it get president approval or not? We have to wait and watch. In the meantime, existing laws will have to be properly implemented, and Vishakha guidelines and all these things has to be properly implemented if we want to protect the dignity of our women.
Students, the title of the next topic is Government to Adopt Recommendations for Protecting Assamese People. Now, in this article, it is very important to understand what is Assam Accord. And this topic is important from GS2 as well as GS3 perspective. So, Assam Accord is something that we study as a part of internal security. But this topic is related to the governance aspect. So, we'll understand one by one. A previous question was asked in the year 2021 on the citizenship. Now, Assam Accord is again related to citizenship. How? We'll understand it. Now, what is the context? The context is that the Assam government has decided to implement 85% of the recommendation of the Justice Biplab Sarma Commission to enforce Clause 6 of the Assam Accord. Don't worry, I'll explain each and everything one by one. Now, what is this Assam Accord? I'll tell you the history of Assam Accord. Assam Accord is a result of the independence of Bangladesh. Bangladesh secured independence in the year 1971, right? Why did Bangladesh secure independence? So, the current Bangladesh was formerly known as East Pakistan, and the current Pakistan is formerly known as West Pakistan. So, the West Pakistanis were torturing and discriminating the people in East Pakistan, that is the current Bangladesh. And this discrimination was happening year after year. And that's the reason now the Bengali speaking Muslims in the current Bangladesh or the former East Pakistan started protesting against the West Pakistanis. And as a result, the West Pakistanis started torturing and killing people. There was a genocide in East Pakistan. The West Pakistanis committed genocide on the people of East Pakistan. And as a reason, lakhs and lakhs of people from East Pakistan, that is the present Bangladesh, flew to India. They came to India. This is known as illegal migration. To save their life, they migrated to India. That was illegal migration. And then because of the illegal migration, the people who entered India or the neighboring states of Bangladesh, that is Assam, these numbers were in lakhs. Lakhs and lakhs of people were entering India. Now, Assam was tensed. Why? Because of the number of increasing illegal migrants. So, the students in Assam were protesting against the rising illegal migrants. And that's the reason finally the government of India had to sign this Assam Accord with the people of Assam, that is the government of Assam, state government of Assam, and these students who were protesting against the rising illegal migrants. And the accord that was signed is known as Assam Accord. We'll understand the provisions now. I hope you understood how the Assam Accord came into being, right? So this is the history which I have just discussed, right? So you can please go through it and understand one by one. I have explained each and everything, right? Now, these are the key provisions of the Assam Accord. The first, so if you just read this, there will be one thing that will be clear. The Assam Accord says that anyone who enters India after 1971 will be deported back to the country they came from. Which means if you enter India after 1971, you will be deported back. This is relating to the citizenship. Right? So, if you come to India before 1971, we will give you citizenship. But after 1971, you will be deported back. You won't be given Indian citizenship. This clause 6 and 7 is very, very important, which we discuss in the context. What is clause 6? Guaranteed constitutional, legal and administrative safeguards to protect the Assamese identity, which means the Assamese people were afraid. Why? Because of the rising illegal migrants. They thought that these illegal migrants would outnumber the people of Assam, which means their culture, their identity was in risk. That's the reason they wanted assurity from the government, and the government of India assured that the identity of the Assamese people will be protected. 1. Clause 6. Clause 7. The government of India also promised that there will be economic development in Assam. How? By establishing oil refinery, paper mill, and the Institute of Technology Educational Institution. These are some of the provision that is a part of Assam Accord, and even after so many years, these clauses are not implemented, unfortunately. And now the people of Assam want the government of India to implement clause 6 and clause 7. I hope you understood the article, right?